Have you ever felt like you're just stuck? Like you're living the same day over and over again? Well, today we're going to unpack a really powerful scientific model from Dr. Joe Dispenza that explains exactly why that happens. But more importantly, we're going to talk about how to break free. It's all about learning how to stop being your old self so you can finally create the life you actually want.
So let's just start with a number that is, honestly, it's pretty mind-blowing. By the time you hit about 35 years old, a full 95% of who you are, we're talking your personality, your beliefs, your habits, is running on subconscious automatic programming.
And what does that actually mean in the real world? Well, it means that most of your thoughts, your choices, your emotional reactions, they're all happening on autopilot. They're just habits that are so ingrained you don't even consciously think about them anymore.
Which, it leads to a pretty big question. If 95% of you is just a program, then who's actually running the show? It's almost like there's a puppet master pulling the strings, and that puppet master was programmed entirely by your past experiences.
So that brings us to the core challenge here, what we're going to call the 95% problem. And it's really about breaking the single greatest habit any of us have, the habit of just being ourselves.
Think about it like this. A habit is just something you've done so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your conscious mind does. Now, this is great for things like riding a bike, right? But it also works for the habits that hold us back, like constantly worrying or complaining or feeling sorry for ourselves.
And this creates this incredibly powerful loop that just keeps us stuck. You wake up, you have the same thoughts, which lead to the same choices, which drive the same behaviors. And of course, those behaviors create the same experiences, which trigger the very same emotions, which then just reinforce the exact same thoughts you started with. It's this closed circuit where your biology and your life just stays exactly the same.
But here's the really hopeful part. We are not doomed to just repeat the past forever. The science of change shows us that we actually have the power to consciously get in there and rewire this programming. So let's dive into how that works.
The whole foundation of Dr. Dispenza's research really comes down to this one profound question. We all accept that our thoughts, through stress, can trigger hormones that create disease. So doesn't it make sense that our thoughts could also create wellness and health? Well, according to the research, the answer is a huge, resounding yes.
But to do this, we kind of have to flip our whole understanding of reality. See, the old model is all about cause and effect. We're waiting for something outside of us, a new job, more money, a relationship, to change how we feel inside. The new model is about causing an effect. It's about you changing how you feel on the inside first, to then create a real, tangible effect in the world outside you.
This quote just captures it perfectly. Waiting around for your life to change before you allow yourself to feel happy or worthy, that's living by the old rules. This new model asks you to generate the feeling of love or success first, and then watch as your outer world starts to rearrange itself to match your inner state.
And look, this isn't just some nice feel-good theory. The scientific evidence they've documented it's astounding. In controlled workshops, people using these principles have achieved things that medicine often says is impossible. We're talking about reversing terminal cancers, recovering from severe spinal injuries, and in one incredible case, even regrowing a thyroid gland after it had been surgically removed.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I actually do this? That's what this next section is all about. We're going to lay out the practical, step-by-step framework for literally reinventing yourself.
It all breaks down into 3 key steps. First, you have to unlearn. This means becoming so conscious of your automatic thoughts and behaviors that you're not the program anymore. You're the one observing the program. Second, you relearn. This is where you mentally rehearse the person you want to become. And in doing so, you're literally installing new hardware, new circuits in your brain. And third, you embody it. You teach your body what that future feels like emotionally, before it even happens.
And if you want to see just how powerful that mental rehearsal part is, check out this famous study. So they had one group of people physically practice piano scales for 5 days. A second group only mentally rehearsed playing those same scales. They never touched the piano. And the result? Brain scans showed that both groups grew the exact same new neural networks. Their brains physically changed just from thought alone.
All right, so let's bring all of this home. This final section is all about putting this into practice. This is how you can make these ideas real with a simple, incredibly powerful experiment you can start literally tomorrow morning.
So how do you actually start this process of rewiring your mind and your body for a brand new future? Well, it all begins the moment you wake up.
So here's the routine. When you wake up, before you reach for your phone, just sit up and go inward.
First, decide what parts of your old self are you not bringing into this new day. Then mentally rehearse the person you do want to be. How are they going to think? How are they going to act and feel? And finally, the most important part, generate the emotion of your future. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the freedom, and don't get up to start your day until you are truly feeling it. When you make this a consistent practice, something truly profound starts to shift. You stop being a victim of your past programming, a victim of your circumstances, and you step into the role of the conscious creator of your reality. You're not waiting for your life to change anymore. You are the one changing it.
You know, when you boil it all down, the entire process really comes down to this one thing. The hardest part of change isn't some monumental effort. It's simply not making the same choice you did yesterday. The question isn't whether or not this is possible. The science shows that it is. The only real question left is, what one different choice are you going to make today?